morning, everyone. So yeah, kind of like Amy said, we're going to take the next 30, 45 minutes or so just to really give you guys a better understanding of really what is Intacct. Obviously, we're hearing a lot about Intacct through some of the press through Sage. A lot of people are starting to make the switch over to the platform. So we're just really trying to equip you guys with that first level. Really, what is this system? What do I got to know about it? After we do kind of a quick PowerPoint, I am going to go into the presentation and actually show you a live look at the functionality of Intacct. And we're really going to kind of hover around 6 key points. I really want to highlight a lot of these benefits to you guys through the different, whether it's the financial dashboards, a few other options as well. We're really kind of showing you how Intacct can make you guys more efficient throughout that process. All right. And one of the slides I really want to start off with is really kind of talking a little bit about Intacct. Intacct is a modern day ERP solution, which essentially translates to we're going to be able to access this information from the cloud. What does that mean? Anywhere, we're going to have internet access, browser-based, if it's a cell phone, tablet, computer at your home, or even at your office, wherever you are, you're able to access a lot of this key financial data. So what that's going to allow us is essentially allowing us to save time through various different workflows. Could even be something along the lines of an automation process that Intacct has built out, integrations with Intacct, but really essentially you're getting that real-time visibility into whatever information you want to see, whether that is on the dashboards or even some of those key reports that you can automatically email out to individuals. All right. Last thing I also want to highlight with Intacct is Intacct has over 250 certified marketplace vendors. What does that mean? Well, simply what it allows us to do is create what we've called best-in-class platform. So essentially, depending upon whatever options you want to partner with, whether it's a Procore, a TimberScan, or one of the other 250 vendors, essentially we'll work directly with them and have that integration already set up so information can flow to the different devices. All right, we'll talk a little bit more on that as we go throughout the presentation. So flowing over here, what I really want to illustrate is you guys are hearing Intacct for the first time maybe in your world, but Intacct is not a new platform by any means. It was founded actually in 1999, so it's been around for over 20 years. The air quotes, if I will, new platform or the new side of things really forms around the construction side of things. So that's all going to be the stuff that's highlighted in yellow. Now, Intacct did have a lot of this functionality already built into the solution, but simply it wasn't tailored for the construction marketplace. And this kind of goes back to why Sage even picked up Intacct in the first place, is because as Sage started seeing or recognizing market trends, we're moving towards having a true native cloud system. That's when they decided to make the acquisition about in 2017 of Intacct, to say, hey, we're going to have this, we're going to build out the functionality. This is going to allow our customers that forefront data, that forefront information a lot more efficiently or quicker than having to build it all from scratch on our own. So that's kind of why we started to look into this cloud-based platform. But again, a little backstory of what Intacct is. What I really want to spend the bulk of the presentation is actually the demonstration. So let me go ahead and open this up, change a little things on my end. So awesome. So when you're first looking at this platform, what we have our eyes on is Sage Intacct for Construction. As I alluded to earlier, it is a cloud-based solution. So what that also means, not only that we can receive or be able to find this information wherever we are, but the system also has built-in or auto updates in there. So what we're really eliminating is that need to have the IT department come in, schedule a time with that either internal or external IT department to then update our on-prem system, and then possibly run into some issues, maybe even with an integration, that connection might get broken. That essentially goes away with having this auto updates. those 250 vendors I had mentioned on the marketplace that Intacct collects with, well, those are certified vendors. What is that relevance to? Well, essentially, anytime an update gets released, they're guaranteeing that that connection will never break. So whatever system that you decide to go for or connect with or connect your accounting data to, you can have that kind of peace of mind that you're not going to have to schedule time. You're not going to have this downtime. You essentially log out at the end of the day on Friday, come in on Monday to either new features, new functionality, or even just some little enhancements throughout the system. All right. So it also does carry with it the ability to create or have an open API. So you might hear that terminology get passed around a lot. And again, what does that mean? Simply meaning even if the system doesn't, even if you're looking or having current process and you want to keep that system, that extra solution to connect to Intacct, but they're not on the certified marketplace. Well, having an open API allows Intacct and your other device or your other solution to be able to still communicate. So what we're able to do is extract different data or send data to that other point. Again, you might have to build something out that could come with an additional cost, but just to note that, depending upon the workflow, if you found a system that you guys truly love, well, you're not limited or having to switch to something that already has an integration built into it. You're able to also build out an integration to this platform. All right. So kind of scrolling in a little bit more into the actual system, what I want to just elaborate on is currently I'm set up as a single user, or each of these users will have their own unique login. So that's one of the ways that Intacct is actually allocated out, is by user basis. What that allows you guys to do is it allows us to kind of create not only a set of preferences for that user, but also create the rights, roles, responsibilities that they're able to access within the solution. So when I scroll over to this applications menu here, you're currently again seeing that I'm logged in as admin, so I have essentially access to everything. But if you're logged in as, say, a project manager, well, what we can do is kind of filter that information that they see, or even limit what they're able to see. For instance, again, that project manager license I might be logged in as, I want them to be able to create, invoices, be able to view any project-related data, but I don't want them to have a visibility into maybe the AP module, cash management, the GL, or wherever I want to allocate. You can even take that user rights, those responsibilities, or even that kind of the next step further by allowing us to limit what they're able to do in that specific module. So again, let's go back to the example of a project manager. So maybe we do want to give them the ability to see the cash management module, to be able to do some functionality, maybe to view anything that they need to, or whatever module it might be. What we can do now is actually limit to what they can be able to write, view, or edit. So sometimes maybe in a purchase order, you might want to give them the ability to create a purchase order, but after that, we don't want them to touch it in any way, shape, or form. So we can kind of give them access to that module without having to give them access to everything that that module can do with inside of it. Okay. So again, that's one way to kind of navigate as well through the system, is leveraging this applications menu. Within this menu as well, there's a lot of different functionality, parts of the system that we can go and be able to retain. But for the average day-to-day worker, they might not need to see, or might not need to go into every one of these modules. They might have a certain set of tasks that they're able to access. So within Intacct, what this allows us to do is we can create just simple favorites. So look at this as just a common go-to task item that I'm having to drill into each and every day, but I don't want to keep coming through the applications menu, opening up accounts payable, selecting pay bills module. What I'm able to do is just star that item, creating that favorites tab, and then I'm able to use this as kind of my daily cheat sheet, where it's going to allow us to access all different sides of the program. All right. Another way to kind of access some of the information you see in Intacct is going to be through the bookmark. And boiled it simply, bookmark is going to get you the ability to go to more of a transaction base. So if I wanted to see a specific purchase order I may be working on, and I need to stop working on it, maybe help out another individual, and then be able to go directly back to that particular purchase order, that's what these bookmarks will allow us to do, is it'll tag on in more of a granular basis than we'll be able to do, say, with the favorite section. All right. Now, while we go throughout the presentation, you will see kind of multiple ways to do essentially very similar function or even get to the same endpoint. And what I mean by that is if I need to, say, search up a bill, I get a phone call saying, hey, I have a bill number. Can you tell me more about this? What is this? What is this case? Well, what I can do here is just simply hit the search option, type in a part of the bill number, either search across the entire system to see anything that meets that criteria, or go more to a granular level. So I want to see this bill here. I'm going to search up one specific module. Now, while the system goes out and searches that module, it's going to find anything that meets that number criteria, which was the 654 number that I had there. Anything that's going to meet that criteria, it's going to go out and pull that information in. Okay. So a little slow on the internet on my end today, so I apologize for that. You guys typically won't run into any of these issues. Only issue I ever see is because we have a sales demo environment. It's kind of the cobbler kids, if you will. They give you a little bit less of the option or less the attention. So you guys today wouldn't run into that issue here. So let me just kind of refresh the page, make this a little bit more efficient. Here. Another one. Oops, excuse me. So essentially what I think it's going to have me do is might be wanting me to log in at the optimal time, which is just how timing typically goes with these. But what it will do is pull up that specific bill or that invoice that I searched for, and then I'm able to open it up to see greater level of detail or whatever the case might be. So if you just bear with me real quick. On my end, thinking something. So in the meantime, well, Italy's searching on the other screen for us, because again, this is definitely seeing this issue here. What I'm going to do is actually go into some of the dashboards and reports and kind of show you the second way to get the same information. So with dashboards, and before I show you that alternate way to kind of drill down into that transaction, that same area that I was looking for, I do want to show you, kind of allow you to understand what is even a dashboard. What is the dashboard in this particular case? So a dashboard is simply made up of really three components. First and foremost, you have performance cards. So that's these things up here at the top. And these can be essentially anything that we want to have or a measure that we want to have. Again, we're looking at this in a project manager view, so I'll show you a couple other ones. But this is meant to be, at a glance, show me how we're doing on a specific matter that you might have delegated. So for instance, I can see what our project margins are by month, how many new or active jobs we currently have on these, but it's just meant to be, at a quick glance, where do we sit on a specific matter, all right? The second topic or second section is a chart. So that's that estimate versus actual right underneath it here. And what this is meant to do is kind of give, very similar, a visual representation of a specific matter, but it's also kind of expanding on that a little bit. It's going to give you additional detail. And if we hover over any of these different fields, you can see that I can look at my my estimated amount, and then also see my actual amount. So where we currently have estimated the project at versus where we sit to, all right? The last section of these dashboards would be down here, over here in the overview, and that's just going to be our reports. So look at reports really as just a more detailed way to expand on a specific matter that you might have at hand. So in this particular case, when I'm looking at my overview, not only that I can see what our contracted amount is, but I'm also able to see how much the estimate is, or what we estimate that amount, what we kind of estimate our gross profit to be. And then when we move over to those commitments, those bills, those costs, where do we actually sit? Where is that number actually coming from, or are we on track? And then when we go all the way down to the end, you can see on the project margin, are we typically kind of where we're supposed to be on this bill? Are we overbilling? Are we underbilling? Where do we kind of sit on this? But these dashboards can be entirely customized by you guys, the user. And just like those previous menus, you can even build security to each of those dashboards. For instance, if you wanted to have a executive team dashboard that gives a lot of detail in terms of maybe where all of our cash is on hand, or one of our customers actually wanted to see something like a stock price, so we can check out where the 401k or our performance of our 401k might be sitting. You can absolutely create those into those dashboards. But one of the neat things with dashboards is not only that it gives you this displayed image or displayed detail very similar to kind of multiple reports stacked together, but what it also enables us to do is you'll see some of this have this blue link here throughout the whole entire system. This blue link allows each user to go to do what we call drill down. And the way to look at that is kind of how I was trying to illustrate earlier, where we could go ahead and search a specific module, find that bill number. We could kind of do that same workflow if a user, say, wants to see what all of our costs are on a project, and I can open that up to be able to see here's all the information. So if we're capturing all of our hours, all those information, or even specific bill informations. So say a project manager says, I got this 12K amount here. What is this for? I don't know what that is. They can also click on that hyperlink, allowing them to drill down directly to that particular bill as well. So in the case with here, is this is now opened up a bill page, and this is able to pull in a lot of that functionality, a lot of the details for that bill. It's the actual bill itself. We're not having to have you, the user, jump out of this, go to a different menu, or try to go anywhere else. You're able to take whatever the action is right from here, as well as have the ability to edit or make any changes once you've found that particular topic, okay, or that transaction, I should say. In this particular case, I do have a couple of things I want to highlight. Is with the attachment files, you can, depending upon any of the ISVs or any of your partners that you might have connected with, is we will absolutely have the ability to include images of the actual bill. So if you're leveraging something like Sage Paperless or Timber Scan, when you go through that AP process, those bills will actually automatically be right here on the invoice, so you don't ever have to jump out of this system to go view it on another system. This is actually that hub of all of your data, or that silo of all that data that gets flown over to here. All right. Scrolling down on the invoices as well screen, you might notice down here on the bottom, it has this post file link. Well, what Intacct has done is actually something really neat, especially with unfortunately COVID hitting us. It's given us the ability, or kind of created what we call Intacct Collaborate, which the way to look at Intacct Collaborate is an intercompany communication tool that we're able to tag members of our organization to extract or even get additional questions answered, all from one silo. What it also allows us to do is it prevents those multiple avenues of information or questions gathered where something might go missed. For instance, when you have an email, a phone call, walking down the hall, sometimes a lot of that information can get missed or forgotten, where what Intacct Collaborate allows us to do is message specific users and say, hey, I have a question on this, or if I wanted to know why is this so overdue, or what's the status of this particular bill, I can simply type in, what is the status of this bill, not bill, of this bill, and go ahead and share that. So not only what it does is it will notify the information or the user that a question has been addressed to them or sent to them, but it will also send them an email notification saying, hey, there's a question here. On that email, it not only says that there's a question, but it displays what that question is, as well as has a hyperlink to take that user directly to this particular transaction or wherever that the question might have been asked at, right? So really just helping narrow down or even create an audit trail of all this information. Oftentimes too, with specific like high ticket items or items of importance, sometimes you might want to follow a specific invoice, getting notifications on those different steps, or even if anything occurs, you might want to be notified even if you're not one of the ones who are specifically notified. And Intacct can absolutely accommodate those needs by simply just checking this follow function or this follow button. What it will allow us to do is any of those notifications will also receive information or actually notifications on that, whether it's an email or through the system, all directly from this hub. All right. So jumping back into the dashboard, what I want to kind of go through a little bit more with these dashboards is making those to those kind of personalized views, as I alluded to. So these can absolutely be changed. You can manipulate any of these fields that you want. You can hide, you can move them. You could even copy existing dashboards to make it personalized to you. And they don't necessarily have to just be information that is extracted or pulled all within Intacct. It could be also from outside sources. And what I mean by that is in this particular project manager view, what I wanted to kind of elaborate on is I might have some job site cameras that I want to see the performance or how we're doing. So I'm able to even pull in any camera images of the project that we're doing. Again, anything from the outside, even the weather condition today, where I'm over here in Portland and it's going to rain, which it always rains, so nothing new there. But you're able to create these personalized views to each of those or each of your users. All right. And what the ability is that'll allow us to is if I go to this CFO view, again, I'm looking at this now at a different point, different dashboard. It allows me not only to see how we're doing on my subject matter, but it also allows us to, within these dashboards, to create what we call a kind of a consolidation or a multi-entity consolidation. So what I mean by that is up here in this top level, the report is all automatically consolidating all these other entities, the performance of each of those different ones of how we're currently doing. And if I wanted to see a specific division, such as a general contracting, I could select on that entity, and you'll notice that it's going to be the same dashboard, same data, but the data in the back end that's populating it is going to be different because it's now reflecting just the performance of the contracting business, the general contracting business. Okay, so we're really allowing you to kind of personalize these views or make it kind of more of what you want to see. Another thing to point out or illustrate on is what we call dimensions. And dimensions allow us the ability to also filter out this information in a more granular way. So you'll see you have 13 out-of-the-box dimensions. You can absolutely add to this if you want to. You could even change these existing ones, but these are just out of the box. And what that will allow us to do is if I go to something like my department and I want to see the different type of work we're doing under this general contracting entity, I can filter that information out. I could even quickly go back to a historical date and time, or even say I want to see the present date and time performance of it, and the system's going to have this exact same dashboard in the format that I personalized, but the data behind it or the data populating is going to be different. Again, what it's allowing us to do is it's really saving a lot of this time and money that we have to go out and run a report, generate that. If we're using crystals, it could take us 20, 30 minutes on some of these reports to run out. It's all doing that in real time. We're not having to have these waiting options in there. All right. So scrolling on from here, what I actually want to do is just view one last dashboard. And when I view this AP Manager dashboard, again, same principle. We've personalized this to create a kind of a workflow that I want to see. I'm able to pull in any external resources such as newsfeed. This could be maybe your Yahoo stock page if you want to, whatever you want to see. But it also allows us to have quick links to navigate to different functionality. So it's no longer just sheerly on information. This could be the hub that you go to in order to do all your day-to-day functionality. If you need to go to pay a bill or even approve bill or even run, say, a specific AP aging by project report that I want to run right here that I may not have on my dashboard, I could just go ahead and make sure all the parameters are correct, run that report, and then we're off to the races to make whatever actions that we need to take care of. And again, as a reminder, any of that blue allows us the ability to drill down to kind of get additional detail into the specific subject matter. All right. Last thing I did want to highlight, but certainly not least, is when we're reviewing a lot of this, you'll see that we have this kind of expanded views here. These will bring us to the specific modules fields. And just like anything, these module fields can be customized to see each information. So how I'm clicking directly into this vendors list, you're going to see it's just going to simplify that whole process because I don't have to go into a specific module, open up that vendors list, and it's the same data right there, right? Now, with Intacct, we also have the ability with different events. A lot of people might want to see notification. They want to see an email when something occurs. Or you might want to also build in kind of error control. So if we're creating a new vendor, I need you to fill in, these specific fields. I need you to include whatever fields you want. Well, the neat thing with Intacct is that's something that you guys will all have the ability to create or tailor to how you want to see it. And that's actually leveraging what we refer to as smart rules and smart events. So I got to go back to the top level because that's where I've delegated that I can create all these. But under the platform service, you'll see smart rules and smart events. What these allow us to do is simply create processes or structures that can possibly, in the case of this, a change order comes through our desk and it goes from pending to approve. The project manager can automatically receive an email notification. Same thing with if we wanted to deal with a purchase order transaction. If something's getting ready to be submitted or approved or whatever the case might be, you could build in notification for the system to go out and email specific individuals. Or even the last one that I'll use is if a project has gone from bid to now we've awarded it, I can build in notification to not only let us know, but if we tie any subs to a specific project, they could also receive email notification on that as well. So again, a lot of information gets thrown at you guys, and I know we had very limited time today, but I do want to make sure I leave ample time for any questions. So before I turn it over to the questions section, I do want to just kind of go through one last PowerPoint. I promise that we're going to turn into questions. Last thing I just wanted to let you guys know is some up and coming events that we're having. So if you guys aren't aware, you can absolutely see all of the up and coming events through the events page on Aktion's website, and that's what we're going to see on screen. But the next webinar we're going to have that's related to Intacct is going to be actually this timber scan, the AP process, where they're going to walk through an actual routing and approval process leveraging timber scan, and then also showing you how all of that information can flow back to Sage Intacct. So that's going to be on May 3rd. Another one, we're going to have another Intacct webinar on May the 16th. Still up in the air. Love to hear back from you guys if there's specific section you want us to focus on or a topic that you might want to see. I'll display my contact information in a moment. Feel free to email myself or even the info at Aktion. Again, we're going to show that. And then the last thing, we will be attending the user group conference that is May 16th through the 18th. So a lot of our account members would love to be able to see you guys, so feel free to stop by. We're going to be at the 24 booth, so please stop by and love to chat with you. And with that being said, I just want to thank everyone for at least your time today. I'm going to turn it over to questions, but my contact screen is on the screen if you guys are hopping off. It was great chatting with you. But Amy, any questions or anything like that?
Nothing has come in, but I would encourage anybody, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat and we can answer any questions you have. If not, if time is short, please reach out to Jared or please reach out to your sales reps. They will be informed that you attended today. I think most of you on the call have been engaged with your sales reps and having conversations about Intacct. So.
Absolutely. And also, if anyone does want to get a more granular demonstration of the Intacct solution, what I would say is to kind of piggyback what Amy said, reach out to your sales rep or if you don't know who they are, feel free to reach out to myself and I'll get you connected with them. But happy to kind of take that to a more granular basis if that's something you guys would like to see. I'll just take that as a compliment that I covered every single question that everyone had, and I did such a great job.
There's not one question about Intacct. They're ready to play. All right, I think we're good to go. I think everybody's all set. So thank you again for joining us today, for taking time out of your day. Thank you, Jared, for a great presentation. And be on the lookout for our email announcing the next topic for next month. So
Perfect.
same time
Thanks, everyone.
on a Tuesday. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.